Yay!
We're back.
Camera action.
Oh my God. Reunion episode.
Reunion episode part 2.
Just the two of us.
It's thank God for that. Honestly, I love both of our guests so deeply from the bottom of my heart. But today I could not.
No, today, as I said, we paid the studio to hang out.
Yeah.
We needed a play date.
We needed that.
Yeah. And so we forked over the cash.
Thank God. I'm so relieved.
I know. It does feel like an inordinate amount of time has passed since we've seen each other. The
prior days, like before our separation, we were really together.
Yes, extremely.
And so I think I felt like, I'm good, like for a little while.
Yes.
And we didn't record for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I did also want us, because it was our first time ever spending
any time together.
It was our first time hanging out for free.
Yeah, for free, without paying for anyone.
It was a first unpaid opportunity for us.
Yeah.
But it was our first time also spending the night under one roof.
Is that true? That must be.
We've never had a sleepover before.
And let alone with 20 other girls.
And let alone with a harem.
Yeah, with a harem.
In a brothel.
A coven, yeah.
Yeah.
It was, I want to talk about it as much as you're comfortable.
Of course. Well, I was going to say, everyone will remain anon.
Okay.
But we can connect
That's
dots
good because I don't remember anyone's names.
Through looks. We're gonna dress people down.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is we went to Isabelle's bachelorette party. For those of you who are uninitiated, she is betrothed, and it was me and Isabelle, and then what was it, 17 other people?
Yeah, I think so.
And what's crazy is I've been to a couple of bachelorettes, and without naming names, there's usually a dud in the group.
Always.
Whether it's the groom's cousin or the friend of the bachelorette who you're just kind of why are you friends with her?
Like the one friend who kind of carried over from a vestige of the past.
Yeah, and who's just well, we've been friends, so I have to invite them, but
sure.
She's kind of bad vibes. Not a single dud.
No, it was a dud free group.
Which then it's that means I'm the dud. But I'm not.
No, I think I was the dud.
You were not the dud. You were the star of the show.
Transparently, I do think I was the dud.
That's so wrong.
I felt like I was presiding over everyone's attention.
You had
attention, but I was so nervous that people weren't having a good time the whole time that I felt like that was just the energy that I brought.
Everyone was having an amazing time. It's, it's hard when you're hosting the party, when it's your birthday and you're hosting the party, it's I can't really have fun because I'm making sure other people are having fun. And I feel it was you and all your people.
Yeah.
And disparate groups, some of them, not really, but I'm sure it was a big responsibility, but I thought you handled it beautifully.
Oh, thank you. Well, I also think the beauty of it was that basically everyone had met in some capacity before. There was no one who was being dropped in completely blind.
I think that's true.
You had met a good portion of the people
handful,
before.
Yeah.
There were, of course, the blood you had not met.
The blood.
And
I think for me and maybe one other person or maybe 2 other people, there was you have factions.
Sure.
And then there was kind of the islands. And I was one of the islands where it's I'm not part of this group. I'm not part of this group. So I need to socially, politically sort of move through this setting on my own, which was a good test for me.
Yeah. You were versed though. And
I was versed.
You were so versed.
Yeah.
And I feel my favorite part was watching which people you ended up kind of gravitating towards and clicking with. It was truly.
It made perfect sense.
Of course. It was what I was looking forward to the most the entire weekend, was just observing you from afar.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I felt I made friends that will last a lifetime.
Oh,
I think it's part of why I've been so sad these past few weeks. Obviously, for other global reasons, there's plenty of ammo there, but I had a genuine social hangover from that of wait, where are all my friends?
Oh, I had a really rough come down emotionally, but I also came down with the flu.
Right.
Also, when's the last time that you went to a doctor and were tested for the flu.
Never. I don't think I've ever had the
I
flu.
literally think this was the first time this has ever happened to me. I was like, I thought you only did COVID. I thought that was kind of like your whole bag.
And the flu, it's like you just don't think about it anymore. It's like that's something that happens to you when you're like 9.
Sure. I think because of the COVID of it all, I've just assumed that flu is kind of like a catch-all term for just like feeling icky.
Right.
But I do forget that it's the influenza. It's an actual
Well, it's
thing
confusing because some people say like the term stomach flu, which isn't a thing. Like that's not right.
Yeah, I'm like, you're pooping a lot.
Yeah.
You have poopy.
It's not a flu. So that's confusing. And it makes it seem like flu is sort of a catch-all, like you said. It's anything, really.
Yeah. You know what's funny about saying stomach flu? Like, I am realizing that it is someone's attempt to just be like, I don't want you to think about what I'm actually doing, which is poopy pukey.
My stomach is sneezing a lot.
My stomach has the aches and the chills.
Yeah, it has a headache. My stomach has a headache.
It's sensitive to the touch. And then if you touch it, I will absolutely implode out of both ends.
Tell me more, like you got sick.
Yeah. So
how long were you sick and are you okay?
I'm okay now.
That's good.
And I was going to save my message in a bottle for this, but I found, by the grace of God, a more interesting one.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Tamiflu is magic.
Oh, it is.
So I went in and I was in a lethal amount of pain.
And
it all percolated. It was the final night when we gave it a good college try, literally.
That was a night that I wasn't expecting.
I drank like an underage boy.
Yeah, it felt like we were in high school and in someone's basement.
Yeah, and we all smelled as such for like 24 hours afterwards too. Still haven't had a review written for me by the Airbnb guy. I'm like, you found the basement, didn't you?
Yeah, the basement. There were things that we couldn't really.
You found the 14 cigars that I shoved into the crevices of the couch.
You found the mysterious stains on the pool table. No one knows really what those were.
Yeah, exactly. It's giving either like hand job or non-alcoholic beer spilled.
Totally.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy about that night? I was dead sober, which I think was obvious.
I'm so sorry you had to see what you had to see.
No, it was honestly perfect. I had a lot of regrets, honestly, afterwards, because I was like, why didn't I go harder? Like, that was silly. But I think my instincts were right because me and alcohol really haven't been on the same page recently.
Sure.
And I didn't want to I also have a really strong instinct of making things about me.
Sure.
Especially when I'm drunk. So I was like, I just don't want to make this about me, Isabelle's party. Like, I'm just going to chillax. And I think it was probably the right call, but I was sad that I wasn't on other people's levels that night.
But you still had a good time.
Oh, but I had an amazing time.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter at all. No, I humiliated myself, which, as is tradition, as God intended.
You were so funny and charming all the entire time.
Thank you.
I would say some other people had some humiliating moments.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Who shall remain nameless.
There were a few of those for sure. Yeah.
But otherwise, I thought you had a great showing.
Well, thank you. But it did strike that night. It was probably our 99.9th round of Dance Flip Cup. Which, by the way,
we made up.
Everyone needs to get involved.
Yeah.
My God.
So fun.
I wish I was more limber. I wish I had kind of stretched out and stretched myself more with the moves that I was bringing to the table. But anyway, there was one turn around the table where I was like, uh-oh, my body feels like it's 112 degrees.
Oof.
And I just assumed it was because I had been drinking in a turtleneck.
It was hot in there.
It was hot in there.
I had to, were you ever by the door? Because there was a door to the outside.
No, I was in the pit, girl. I was in the mix.
There was a door to the outside that I would crack open. And first of all, it was blizzarding, so windy, so cold. And I would just stand by the door receiving the cold air.
I wish I had done that. My solace space was in the bathroom because I was
I would go there too.
no one's going to question why I'm in here. And I would just kind of like go and have quiet time. I would go and have the stomach flu.
Yeah.
That actually did happen.
Wait, so did anyone else get sick?
Yes.
Because I didn't get sick.
A number of people.
I'm so amazed that nothing happened to me.
No, I don't know who patient 0 was, but when I do find out, I will come back on this podcast and name names.
Let's do it.
But yeah, it was at night and I went to bed just like, I'm going to wake up in the morning feeling like a shell of myself. And sure enough, I woke up in so much pain. I hadn't had
Where was it located?
Everywhere. It was like the full body ache that is associated with the flu.
Again, I'm like, this is so mysterious to me because I don't think I've ever had the flu.
Have you ever been sick enough where like it hurts to move your eyes? Like,
no.
So the test when I was younger, my mom would be like, roll your eyes into the back of your head and does it hurt? And if it hurt, then that meant that I was going to die.
Yeah. It's like, oh, well, she's a goner.
Yeah. That's the test I do at night where I'm like, am I going to die at night? She's like, well.
She just makes up a thing to like alleviate your anxiety.
Close your eyes and clap 3 times. And
if it doesn't hurt, then you're fine.
And if it doesn't hurt, then you won't die. So anyway, I was just like achy all over. And then we had to drive home together.
That was that day.
It was that day.
I'm so sorry for you.
Well, I wanted to apologize because I felt like when we all parted ways, I was like, bye. And
no, I was ready. I was like, I have to go.
Okay. Thank God.
Totally
And I
fine.
figured you'd be on the same page, but I was like, should I be like emoting or expressing gratitude? Because if I do, I feel like I might kind of yarf in front of my girls. I proceeded to go upstairs, drop my bags, and sleep for 12 hours unbroken. Mm-hmm. And then I woke up with influenza A and B. I had to have. I was so sweaty, so achy. And then I went to the same urgent care doctor who had once told me that my pancreatitis was a period cramp. And I was like, here we go again, boys.
Great.
It's not going to go well. But they did give me a little nose swab and I did pop positive for the Enza.
Right. Which, to your earlier point, I've never done a nasal swab for anything outside of COVID.
I know. I was like, you're lying to me. What are you actually testing for?
Yeah.
Drugs?
Well, they're sending it to the federal government, and then Musk is going to make sure it's not, you know, you're not trans, and then we're good. Of
course. Yeah. They do nose swabs for that
They
now.
do nose swabs for trans now.
No, exactly. Well, that's like kind of the one benefit of RFK is that he's really been pushing for these kind of like, innovative nose swab solutions.
State of the line, state of the art.
Sniffing out the baddies in the bunch. So anyway, but they prescribed me Tamiflu. Second that pill hits my lips, I'm a new woman.
It's like you were gray and then like your body became like colorful.
Yeah, I know,
like
exactly.
like in a pharmaceutical ad.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
100%. Yeah. Like a Skyrizi.
Yeah, Skyrizi.
I was like, are you sure this isn't Skyrizi?
Pretty sure this is Skyrizi.
It looks like Tamiflu, but it tastes like Skyrizi. I'm seeing the world through Skyrizi eyes.
And randomly my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis is gone also.
But randomly, no thoughts of suicide. So what's up with that?
So what's going on? I'm going to operate heavy machinery.
So yeah, Tammy was good to me.
I'm really happy that you found a solution.
Yep. And
Did you take time off work, I hope?
Oh, girl, yeah.
Okay, good.
I didn't work. I from the Friday before my bachelorette through the following Friday. I was
Amazing.
Yeah. And it kind of got me excited for getting sick again.
Yeah.
Quite honestly.
No, it's anything to exit that situation.
Yeah, take some me time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Well, walk me through your outfit one more time because I'm just so tickled by it.
I'm wearing my Zessica, which is a real brand that I bought on Amazon a long time ago. I'm actually trying to not shop on Amazon anymore.
Amazon brands, their tactic is just throwing Z's into words that already exist.
Yeah. So this is my Zessica sweater.
Isn't there one called Zazie too?
I'm sure.
Yeah, sure.
And then these are my Gap sweatpants that I wear every single day.
Love.
And then these are my platform Uggs that I got from my sister for Christmas. Thank you, Kelsey.
Thank you, Kelsey.
And these are my ex-girlfriend's socks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's the fit.
Do you think that you would ever sport those Ugg slingback slippers without socks? Like, do you feel bold enough to do that?
Yeah, I do that all the time at home.
I feel like you have good ankles.
Oh, thank you. I don't. I think I have cankles.
No, I've never in my life believed that about you.
I do.
No.
I have something later to talk about with my body.
I was going to say there's a lot of good things about your body.
Yeah.
And I can name no bad things about it. It would,
oh my God.
even if I tried, wouldn't be cankles.
Okay. Well, Thank you.
It'd
And
probably
maybe
be
someday.
that you don't love yourself enough.
I mean, that's a huge problem in my life.
Of course.
So the self-loathing, etc. But yeah, I decided to go full lounge today because I'm on day 2 of my period.
Yeah.
I've been in agonizing pain all day.
Well, we
Speaking
talked
of
about
pain,
this.
yeah.
Like I always feel cosmically bonded to you, but the second you said I have my period, I was like, now's the time to tell her that I accidentally took 3 birth control pills and induced my own period.
Why did you do that?
Honestly, I no longer set an alarm on my phone. And I'm just like, I've been doing this for
Winging
God knows how many years at this point. Like I can probably remember to take my pill at 7 p.m.
I mean,
Girls did not remember for 3 days.
I don't think that would work for me.
I stacked them all up.
You have to.
Yeah. Famously, the instructions say if you take more than 2 pills, please throw out your whole pack and see a doctor. And I'm like.
Also, don't they say like if you miss a dose, like just take the next one and it's fine?
Yeah, but they don't. That's good for 1 dose and not 2, which is what I did. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, induced a cycle, no worries, because you're bleeding too, and in many ways, we've never been closer because of that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Like, did it have any other effects?
It just put me in a foul mood, but that's kind of.
I
can't even like that. I'm always in a foul mood.
I'm just coming here today was very necessary because
Yeah.
ever since the day we got back from your bachelorette, also happened to be MLK Day, also happened to also be Inog.
Yeah.
And that was really dark to
Yeah.
go from like the warmth and the love that I was experiencing over the weekend to then coming back to the harsh light of day.
I did think about that going into the weekend where I was like, am I setting my coven up for failure? It was not lost on me that we would be going from extreme highs to inarguably the most inescapable low of our whole lives.
Well, I also like the entire subplot of your bachelorette was the TikTok ban.
Yes.
I was like kind of panicking.
Oh no, I know. I was like, can you give my girl some space?
I was like, I need to go down into the depths of this basement and watch a couple TikTok videos before this thing goes away.
My favorite was the fact that this was not intentional, but I placed you in a bedroom,
the epicenter,
where you could be perceived at all times. So like, of course, not great for other people, but fantastic for me because I could go and check up on you.
Uh-huh.
And I could sense at one moment you were like, I need some me time. And I went into your epicenter chamber and just saw you all tucked in. You had an eye mask on.
Oh yeah.
It felt like I was visiting like an embalmed dictator. It was like,
yeah, that's how I felt.
You looked absolutely deceased.
And there were a couple of times that I went to my bed and like fully didn't have like conscious authority over my system. Like,
yes.
And that's why I had to tell one of your friends who was like such an angel in organizing this amazing fashion show thing.
Sure.
She was like texting me while I was like PTFO'd, like completely dead to the world.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad because I like didn't participate in this thing because like I was literally unconscious. But I was just doing my best.
Well, it didn't register to me as anything I should be concerned about because I was like, she is hibernating. She will emerge stronger, better, faster, stronger.
And I think that was the day that we also went to that brewery and I had 2 beers.
Oh, I had 2 ciders and was like, someone needs to drive me home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And pump my stomach.
Yeah. 2 beers is a lot for me.
2 beers, I'm firing off drunk texts.
Yeah.
I'm posting on Instagram stories. Like I am making myself known after 2 beers.
Do you think people are going to be bored by us talking about this?
Absolutely. But again, it doesn't matter to me.
I guess
anymore.
It doesn't. Yeah.
I just want to see you.
I know. I'm happy.
And whoever like accidentally comes across this, hey, you can leave at any time.
Yeah.
We're not forcing you to stay here.
There's definitely podcast episodes that I've listened to of people who talk about like vacations they went on together. And I think it's fun.
Sure. And generally those are famous people. And I'm like
sure
listening to other famous people's vacations.
And they're talking about like being on like the Riviera in Italy. Like
of course.
So
but no one ever talks about the Riviera of Rhinebeck.
No one talks about that.
Or the Riviera of Gaza. These are the 2 next frontiers.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something that's been happening to me since Inog.
Sure.
Which is that I cannot wake up in the morning.
Dude, same.
what's going on?
It feels like there is a foot on my chest.
And it's like, even when I'm not that tired, I'm still just like, no.
Yep.
I have been getting out of bed, and I will admit this to the audience, at 11 a.m.
Sure.
On a regular basis.
Are you up before that and just kind of like existing in bed, or are you popping awake at 11?
I wake up usually at like 8.
Okay.
And I'm like, absolutely fucking not.
Mm-hmm.
And I will just get myself to go back to sleep.
Yep.
Somehow. Sometimes I'm not even tired, but I will just be like, I'm going to close my eyes and pretend this isn't happening.
This is a new phase for me. And like, I have been trying to figure out the source of this, because I used to be, not that I was like particularly productive in the morning, but I was a morning person.
You're a morning person.
And now I'm entering this phase where, like, to your point, getting out of bed at any time before 8 is like a war crime to me. And I'm perfectly happy, even if I'm up, staying in bed and just kind of like crusting over in there until like 10:30, 11.
Yeah, totally. And I also like, you know, there's always a problem. I should probably just put my phone in a different room, but like the immediate search for the dopamine.
Yeah.
I also, sorry, I'm just like bouncing all over the place because I have to update you on everything that's going on.
I know.
But like the oral fixations,
oh my God,
have been unbelievable. Like,
yep.
I'm averaging 3 Tootsie Pops a day.
Wait, can you talk to me about your hunks?
I love my heavenly hunks.
I've never seen those hunks.
They're called heavenly hunks.
Sure.
I don't know if they're...
And then later we're going to talk about...
the Tootsie Pops?
No, your other hunks.
Oh, my man?
No,
what?
Your butt.
Oh, my ass. Yeah, we'll talk about my ass later. So I don't know if they're exclusively Target brand. I don't think they're a Target brand. I think they just carry them at Target. And they're like cookies, but different. I guess they have the taste of like a chewy bar, like a chocolate chip chewy bar.
Mm-hmm.
But they're in a form of like a cube.
Yeah.
And they're each about 120 calories. Not that I'm counting.
They're Rice Krispie treats.
They're delicious.
Effectively, yeah.
But they're more dense than that.
Okay.
So it really feels like you're getting a real dessert when you eat one, I feel.
This is like when Kind Bar decided to come out with clusters.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just fucking around at this point.
Oh.
It's like M&M dark chocolate pretzel cluster, but because it's Kind Bar on it, it's like pre-workout.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's high protein.
It's high protein,
it has like a
pre-workout.
peanut.
Yeah, it's gains. Yeah.
Yeah. The Heavenly Hunks, they did appeal to me because they were gluten-free. And I was like, this, to me, it's like, this is health.
Of course.
This is my version of health. So, yeah, I've really been enjoying those. But I ran out. So now I'm on to Tootsie Pops.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything that's like I detest the most about myself is like rearing its ugly head at the moment.
How have you been generally like since the last time I saw you?
Well, the come down again has been intense.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we've talked about this, like the people who were there, like those are my people, you know what I mean? So like to be in a confined space with all my favorite people and the only thing that's required of us is to just like drink and be merry. And then to come home to the darkest ages of our lives.
Yeah.
And to have the flu. I was like, you could just take me out, honestly. Like I felt like it almost felt like a goodbye to my life. Like it felt like I had bid myself goodbye at that party. Like if I had, you know, rolled my eyes into the back of my head and it hurt and my mom said you're going to die in your sleep, I would have been like, no
that
worries.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fulfilled.
I mean, I can't even express it. Like the weekend was so filled with true, genuine love and warmth and just like kinship amongst these people who none of us, like a lot of us didn't know each other, but we all love you. And it was just such a beautiful, there was always going to be a rough landing.
100%. Yeah. And we haven't even addressed the fact that like Floundering's Floundering's bachelorette, not mine.
I was getting like emotional I was like, it was very overwhelming the entire weekend to be included in like the love that was being showered upon you, like to then feel like also I was getting it even though I'm not part of this.
Well, you do know this. Behind the scenes was everyone coming up to me separately being like, I have no idea how to like conduct myself around Carey because you are an inherently parasocial person to a lot of these people because everyone listens religiously because I make them and because they enjoy it. But yeah, this is like, with the exception of a few people who had met you like once or twice before.
Yeah.
People feel like they know you so well. And then when they see your physical form, it's like they don't know how to act.
Well, and I don't know how to act.
And likewise.
And it was such an auspicious way to start the year too, because I was telling my sister this, like, I've never felt more like an actual famous person because I was entering these rooms and people would be like, "Oh my God, I know you." Like, "Hey." And I'm like, "Okay, it doesn't go both ways." So, but hi. And I it was like such a strange like phenomenon, but then I was like thinking about it and I was like, maybe this is preparing me for what's to come.
Well, hey, look, TikTok was banned, then it came back. It's like the floodgates have opened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was one point where I overheard my cousin saying to you, like, "I know that laugh." I was like, "Hey, come over here. We don't do that."
One of your cousins who has such a beautiful aura was like genuinely sitting with me and being like, "What is it like to be around all these people who know you but you don't know them?" And I was like, it's so kind of you to even have that instinct to ask me that. Like it was so nice.
Yeah. I'm connecting dots about who that was.
You know,
of course.
I could tell you after.
Yeah, of course.
She's an angel from heaven.
Oh, I mean, they all are.
And they all are.
They all are ultimately.
But some of them have a more devilish side. And I didn't really see that necessarily from this particular person.
Interesting.
But maybe. She's also like some of your... I wonder if the patient zero was one of your cousin's children.
It very well could have been. Yeah.
Which we love kids.
I mean, there were people who had traveled from Europe. Like everyone was bringing their own special sauce to the table. But you must have an immune system of gold, because I thought for sure no one was going to be spared after the trenches.
Well, and we were in the same car.
I
have no idea how I managed to not. I mean, I've been taking my vitamins.
I know. You mentioned your vitamins. What's your regimen, by the way? Because I am taking, I was going to say Nature Valley, but that's a granola bar.
Nature's Choice or something. Yeah.
I am taking sugar-crusted gummies. Omega-3.
I don't do gummies.
You do like...
I do regular pills. I just don't trust those. And I see them everywhere. And like the Ollie ones.
I mean, hey.
And I'm so drawn to the packaging, which is what they want. But I'm like, at the end of the day, if I'm going to spend $20 on a thing of vitamins, they better not be coming out in my piss, which is what I've heard about the gummies.
So, and my philosophy is, if I'm spending $20 on this, it better be yummy.
Yeah, it better be
yummy.
It better have a citrusy taste.
Yeah. It better be like kind of crispy with sugar when I bite into it.
And if I I'm a hoe for gummies.
I know you are.
So it says a lot that I'm not using them for my vitamins.
And I'm a hoe for health, so it says a lot that I'm opting for gummy over pill.
It's actually so weird what's happening in Twilight Zone.
Yeah. We're Freaky Fridaying at the moment. once again.
But yeah, I actually just upped my vitamin D because I was taking a 400 IU supplement of that, which I didn't realize is basically nothing. So now I'm taking 2,000.
Okay.
So I'm taking that, and I take my vitamin C.
Yep.
And
these are all separate pills.
Yes.
I need to be on separates.
I mean, a multi would probably be easier.
Yeah.
But I just don't know. I'm just too green with like the vitamin space to really understand what to do.
No, I think that the people who are like well read in the vitamin space would recommend taking specific things for specific vitamins as opposed to, I don't know, Frankensteining it into one.
But I just picked up my probiotic because I was out of probiotics and I got a 2-month supply. Why is it $45 for me to have my probiotics? I don't understand.
Do you have like a prescribed probiotic?
No, it's just from the drugstore.
I am on a probiotic too. It's purely like placebo.
I don't know if it does anything.
It doesn't do anything.
But I will go ahead and spend $45 on a bottle.
Have you opened them up?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's evaporated milk.
Oh, wait, what does yours look like?
Mine's a little capsule.
Yeah, mine's a little capsule.
Okay. And it's all, okay, just taking.
Okay, they're the same.
Okay, just taking. It's Culturelle.
Okay.
And I was just doing the standard, like, you take it daily in the hopes that, like, anything
will
moves.
Happen. Yeah.
And now I'm taking a gas and bloat one because.
I just saw a commercial for that.
Yeah.
This has to go down in history as one of the most boring podcasts ever.
And I also just hacked so much mucus all over this microphone. Connor, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. They
clean it.
They clean it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We'll give it a fresh little hood after this.
Yeah. It's totally fine.
Wouldn't it be so cute and random if we like gave the microphone our own little sock, like our like a floundering
sock?
Yeah.
We have a lot of admin to do around expanding the Floundering brand.
We do.
Because I want to get one thing for that.
Viewers need to know that this space is going to look a little different in a few episodes.
Yeah, when we get our shit together.
We're going to have microphone socks. Never been done before.
Never been done. No one knows about that.
And probably no one wants that, but...
Wait, so was I ever annoying to you when you were sick?
Darling.
I was hoping that...
Never.
I could never be annoying to you when you were sick. Because when I'm sick and someone texts me, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
You actually went radio silent for a little bit. And I was like, she had a bad time over the weekend. Like she saw me in a light that she didn't like.
Not at all.
Was of course it was never about like she had a bad time. It was like
they see me differently.
Yeah. Carey saw me in a light that I didn't like. So that was my fear that you kind of, because it's like, it's very interesting meeting people in like code switching, like watching people be different people in front of different groups. And I'm just like so entrenched in the same group of people so often, especially in New York, that like when the family was introduced, I was like, people are about to see a new type of engagement between like how I've like always behaved around my cousins versus like my closest friends.
But if anything, I felt like you were just even more like yourself and more just like on, and I felt like you were very much in your element.
Oh, this is the validation I needed.
Yeah.
But when I got sick and then I got sick when I had the flu.
Well, you did get sick.
Yeah, no, get sick implies that I like was diagnosed with something.
Yeah.
Which I was, by the way,
you
influenza A. Yeah, the whole time I was just like, I hope that people walked away from that weekend being like, that's the Isabelle I know and love, not I'm seeing her in a light that is unfamiliar.
No, I think I think you were exactly who I knew you to be.
Okay. So to answer your question, you could never be annoying to me. Okay, in fact, I wanted you closer.
Okay, good.
And I was upset that I couldn't have you.
Well, you should tell me if I'm ever being annoying, because I feel like I can be, especially in a working relationship. We're now just having a business meeting.
It's a business meeting. And actually, everyone, can you kind of like hold that?
Yeah, if you guys don't mind kind of stepping out for a second, give us a second.
Give us 5. We'll still be here, but yeah, just come back in 5.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, good.
I feel like we're so eternally on the same page.
Yeah, we are.
Forever and always.
Literally.
Yeah.
Well, it was an amazing weekend. It made me so excited for your wedding because there's people that I won't see until then.
I mean, already my wheels are turning. We need to have a whole conversation about like who to sit you with. Who do you want to be with?
I could definitely give you some.
Give me some names.
Yeah, some names.
Yeah. No, we'll make.
I mean, I think
happen.
it's the ones you're thinking of.
No, of course.
But also, like, I'll get along with whoever. Like,
no, I know you will, but I want you to be with the people you want.
Love.
That's important to me.
Yeah. I have so many things running through my mind right now from the trip. It was so lovely.
Speaking of being perceived, and then I promise we can move on, and then people can come back.
Yeah,
I know you guys have like
gone
on walks and like gone grocery shopping and all that. But the friend who organized the dance or the whatever it was, the fashion show, for listeners, I had no context about like specific little activities that would be organized on my behalf, and one of them was different groups of people pair off and dress up as and dance to music that evokes a phase of my life. I had never felt read to filth in such a way in my whole goddamn life.
I mean, one of your cousins dressed up as a container of yogurt.
Correct. and danced to what can only be described as hookah music.
Yeah,
I was like, is this hummus music?
Vaguely problematic, but ultimately worth it.
But ultimately core to my being. Yeah, core to my consciousness. Yeah. So that was talk about not liking to be perceived in a certain way. That was an interesting exercise in watching myself grow over the years.
I feel like it was very illuminating.
Though I will say, to be played, to have your current version played by your hot blonde friend, that was kind of cool.
That was. She looked just like you.
I was like, y'all didn't need to do that. But that was really,
but I appreciate it.
But that was super considerate. Thank you. My like literally 4'5", 90-pound gorgeous blonde friend.
She's so tiny and cute.
She's so tiny and cute.
And also one of my best friends now.
Oh, I mean, forever and always.
I honestly was expecting that like everyone would follow me on Instagram afterwards, and that didn't happen, which is totally cool.
No, I think people are scared about overstepping with you. Because
that's crazy.
They view you as quasi-famous.
It's just funny because I will stop talking about myself. I'm like boring myself with this, but
this whole thing has been me talking about me.
Look, we haven't gotten together in a while. We had a trip. We have to kiki.
Yeah.
Sorry to this man. Kiki. Talk about Kiki. Palmer.
I know. Love.
Anyway, love her so much.
Now we're just free associating.
Palmer,
Kiki,
palm trees,
palm oil.
Miami.
Palm oil is in oat milk. Oat milk is unhealthy. Okay. Oh, right. Now we're centered.
What was I just saying? I forget.
I don't know. Wait.
But anyway.
Quick thought. Wait, you were talking about you and how no one followed you on Instagram.
No one followed me on Instagram.
And I told you it's because they think you're famous.
Yeah, I don't think that's why. But I forget what I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
But love everyone.
Yeah.
Regardless of if they follow me on Instagram.
And they love you right back. They love you right back.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It was just like definitely challenging. Like it was a challenge for me. Like socially, obviously, I'm a hermit. Like, you know, and my way of being in these settings is always to ask people about themselves and get them talking.
Yeah.
I want to get to know them, and also then that means that I can be listening and not talking, which is usually good. But then I felt like I was being like a little bit, you know, investigative detective more so than like a real person. And I was like, so tell me, what made you want to be with your boyfriend instead of someone else?
Yeah.
And what do you think about him sort of mirrors your parents?
Yeah, and this is related, and we'll get to it later, but also just for intents and purposes, blood type. Like,
right.
Where does that kind of fall into the mix?
Exactly.
And, yeah. No, people love talking about themselves, though.
They do.
Yeah, it's like everyone's favorite natural thing to do. So much so that, like, I've noticed that all I do is ask questions.
Yeah.
And the second someone flips it back on me, I like do a little dance and hide in a bathroom.
I'm like, wait, that actually happened to me one time. I was doing this to literally every person.
Yeah.
I would just have moments where I'd be talking to one person.
You would take them into your epicenter chamber.
Yes. And we would converse, and it would be them talking about me, them talking about themselves. And there was one person who I was trying to do that to, and she was like, so what about you? Tell me something. And I was like, that wasn't part of the contract. Yeah. We're not doing this.
Yeah, no, clearly you weren't listening to my terms and conditions.
Right.
Yeah, this is about me eking every ounce of life out of you.
Right.
So that I don't have to confront anything about
or
me.
reciprocate whatsoever.
Yeah. Oh my God, no. I mean, it's so funny because like the questions that I generally ask are like pretty basic, and I'm so enthralled by their responses.
Yeah.
And I just like, I have a hard time assuming that they would be equally enthralled by what I say. Like, that's just my assumption.
Same.
Always. Like, you have something more interesting to say.
I feel that way perpetually.
What I would ever have to say.
And as soon as I start talking, the fear takes over of like, they're so bored.
They're bored.
Like,
They're
even
bored.
just now, I'm like
100%. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, to allay your fears, our dear friend Chase Hoffman said that everything that you say is interesting.
That's
and he
true.
hangs on your every word.
But he's just saying that.
And then I said, what about me? And then he launched into a new topic.
Yeah, he was like, and speaking of.
And he was like, put a pin in that. And back to what Carey was saying. Oh.
Well,
we're here.
We can put a cap on the amazing weekend that we had. Thank God for that. It was, to your earlier like kind of dilemma over the weekend sort of ending on the day that it did, I think it was kind of perfect because we needed that distraction from the dread and the doom that was to come. And so
100%. And without making this like a conversation
politics
about
podcast.
Just of course, like the NPR podcast we've tried so hard to launch.
Yeah.
I felt like I really did not process the results when it happened in real time.
Yeah.
Like I was so devastated for like 24 hours and then was just like went full kind of like bury it mode.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like over that weekend, it was like full release of everything that had been so pent up.
Right. And the reality is so much worse than even the worst predictions could have been.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
And that's also fun.
But as they say, joy is resistance, and therefore floundering is part of the resistance.
And speaking of joy being part of the resistance, I have a flip that I would like to share.
So every episode we do a segment called Flip or Flop, and it's where we take the time that we spent apart, which in this case was almost a calendar month.
And clearly not so great,
and was
folks.
Truly one of the worst times that I've had.
This was a net start to finish flop.
Yeah.
For me.
Really bad. For you, actually much worse than it was for me. So flop is something bad and flip is something good. And that's
flip flop, tic tac.
As much as I actually don't believe in the binary of good and bad,
sure,
and categorizing things that way, because we don't truly know the impact of what something could be.
Of course.
But we do our best to sort of live within the linguistic constructs of the society that we're in.
Of course, we can only operate within the frameworks that we've inherited.
Yeah,
for better or for worse.
Sorry for our limitations in that way.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What were we talking about?
You're gonna do your flip,
right? Of course. And we can talk about linguistic constructs later.
Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of joy is resistance, I feel like to our previous 40 minutes of conversation, confronting the new reality has been some of the darkest days of my life. And I have just like kind of resigned to the fact that everything is going to be bad. Like everything, anytime there is an opportunity to be disappointed, I will be disappointed. Anytime there is like the choice between two things, the media and the powers that be will choose the bad thing. I have just kind of accepted that as the state of the world.
Okay.
The one exception was the Grammys.
Yeah.
Holy hell, dude. From start to finish, I was like, things are right. Like,
how did they do that? I don't understand. Every previous year has been
so
the worst
bad.
thing ever.
No, truly. Like, and it's been, every previous year has been a like embodiment of what I believe is our reality, which is just like the people who shouldn't come out on top, come out on top. And this was the one time where I'm like, the people who deserve to win won.
Is it
again and again and again?
Is it a thing where it's like, because politically we're here, we can be here culturally?
No one's
going to get it because I'm doing a visual thing.
Right. But of course I felt it.
Thank you.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. Like if Kamala had won, Beyonce could not have won.
If Kamala had won, fucking Benson Boone would have taken home Best New Artist.
Which, by the way, Benson Boone is an AI.
Benson Boone is, you put him in a thing of water and he blows up into a human.
Actually.
He's a water monk. What are those things called? Water monkeys? Sea monkeys.
Sea monkeys.
He's a sea monkey.
We talked about this offline, but I really resent having to even know who Benson Boone is. I've never heard a single Benson Boone song to my knowledge. See him in the crowd and I say, that's Benson Boone.
Sure.
Because I know who that is now.
No, because now my brain space has to carve out a little room for him.
Right.
In its limited little economy.
Like we have so many other problems to solve in this world, and yet Benson Boone is taking
And somehow
space.
I know that he's also from a town in Washington, the state.
Now I know that.
And he has a girlfriend named Madison.
Of course he does.
I'm like, now that he's entered my brain, what am I going to disregard him?
Also,
I have to learn about him.
When people are thirsting after a guy who has a girlfriend named Madison, it's like,
give it up.
Do you think Benson Boone is going to leave Madison for you?
I'm like, he's not even bi. I'm sorry.
He has to be. You can't wear what he wears and not be bi.
Well, there was this whole article accusing him of... I'm like, how much time have I spent on this guy, Benson Boone?
on page 13 of Google.
Yeah. And if you turn to the 15th page of your Google responses, you'll see that Out magazine said,
is he fishing?
Is he queer baiting? Yeah. Or are queer people just upset that he's straight?
I mean, that is like the sort of eternal question of this moment in time.
Of course.
No one knows the answer.
But look, here we are. My flip was not about Benson Boone, and here we are Benson Booning ourselves left and right.
We literally made this about Benson Boone.
He's Bensoning, he's Booning. He's got to get out. He's got to get out.
He has to get out.
After this episode, no more talk of Benson Boone between you and me, and that's on God. That's on God.
Yeah.
But I mean, Doechii, holy hell. Here's the thing about me. I will find a reason to hyperfixate on quite literally anything. I am so happy my brain found her.
She is everything.
I am fixating on her the way that I was fixating on Pete Wentz in 2005.
Yeah, it's really bringing back some deep. I've never, like, we talked about this. Like, I've been pretty, like, trying not to idolize big celebrities and stuff because it's just like they're not better than me.
Yeah.
But she, like, I genuinely, like, admire what she is doing so much.
Yeah.
The fact that she was, like, very public back before she was anyone, but, like, you can kind of go back and see, like, her YouTube videos from, like, 5 years ago, and she was just like, whatever, I guess I'm just gonna do what I want and not have shame, and, like, let's see what happens. And then, like, 5 years later she's accepting
everything.
a Grammy. Like,
yeah, I mean, and yeah, it's just like her whole story is just incredible. Like, she got fired from, like, multiple jobs, and I think that's, like, the one YouTube video that's circulating where she's like, fuck it, I guess I'm just gonna, like, do me now.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, it's funny when someone that young is, their star is so ascendant because you just assume that it happened that day. But she's been at it for however many years.
Yeah.
5, 10. Like, she's been grinding, and her music is so damn good. And she's so like, as a performer too, and that I think is what struck me about the, like, crop of talent that had just won, where it's like, they're incredible singers and they are fucking performers.
Yeah.
Like, they exist to perform.
Did you see Ray's performance?
Yes.
I
and you
love
saw her in
so
person.
much. Yeah, at the Blue Note.
Well, I was thinking about that because, like, her voice was so big.
It's unbelievable.
How did that translate to a venue the size of the Blue Note?
I mean, I think obviously, like, at the Grammys, like, they're gonna have a huge audio system and all of that. Her voice was, I mean, it's incredible wherever she goes, but it was definitely more intimate performance, which was amazing also because I was, like, right near the stage.
She's, like, transcendent.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I totally get what you're saying too, of, like, it doesn't feel like this has been, like, it doesn't feel like we've had this.
Yeah.
Like, for a long time, like, this amount of talent and, like, also just people who are kind of, like, likable and you want to root for them.
Yes.
Minus Benson Boone, like, most other people, and Taylor Swift.
Sure.
Most other people, I'm, like, very much, like, I love Billie, I love Chapel, I love Sabrina. Like,
I love the girls.
Yeah, I love the girls.
I love them so much. And it was also just, like, such a beautiful encapsulation in my mind about how much work women put in versus men. Like, when the best new artist thing, like, okay, sure, Benson did the whole, you know, flip of it all off the piano. Cool.
Okay.
But Shabuzi literally swaying his hips from side to side while his backup dancers went absolutely off behind him. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Teddy Swims.
Oh, Teddy Swims was a nominee.
Was a nominee. Stationary in the middle of the stage, looking like a haggard Jesus.
Voice.
He's got a great voice. I
will
like give him that. Yeah. But the performance was so unremarkable.
Right.
Well, I'm like,
the
you're
women are, like,
debuting yourself as the best new artist, and you're just, like, stationary on stage.
I mean, this is why I couldn't do any of that, because to be a woman in that industry, you have to be able to dance, sing, perform, and wear a leotard. And I'm not doing those.
And be funny. Like Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah.
I saw her in a completely new light too.
Really?
Yeah.
In a positive.
That's amazing. Yeah. Where I was just like, you got it all, girl. Like, you write bops, and sure, the lyrics might be a little thin, as we've discussed.
Right.
But you love what you do, and you attract, like, such a sunny energy when you perform.
I have not read this article that I'm about to reference, but I want to, because I guess somebody wrote about, like,
and we love talking about articles we want to read on this
pod.
And
someone wrote an article about something that I have been thinking about with Sabrina around, like, her aesthetic, and like, they described it as, like, a Lolita aesthetic, which is, like, honestly very apt.
It tracks.
And how, like, I talked about before on the podcast, like, it makes me a little uncomfortable. So I am curious to get into that, and maybe I'll talk about it next time on the podcast.
Yeah, well, she has the floor now. It's kind of like, what are you going to do? And that's
she's
always
not apologizing for, like, what she's doing, or the fact that she's, like, openly kind of using her sexuality and femininity. Actually, this relates to my my flip.
Oh, so well, we can transition. All I was going to say is that, like, against all the odds, the people who were supposed to win won, and men looked pathetic. And for that reason, I'm just eternally grateful to this year's Grammy Awards.
I was stupid and didn't watch them. And it's like I watched the fucking Golden Globes, which were fine. Like Nikki Glaser did a good job.
Yeah.
But the Grammys were happening and I was like, this show sucks. They never award the right people. I just don't want to watch it.
Yeah,
and then of course
I had the same thought where I was like, if I watch Taylor Swift win for a objectively mid album, sorry.
I would say it's less than mid, but yeah.
Truly. I'm like, the reason the album did well is because she latched a huge tour onto it and performed her compendium.
And because she's Taylor Swift. So she could literally put out an album of her going and it would fucking chart.
It would chart.
And people would be like, she's doing such amazing experimental work. She's really never gone into the mouth noises thing.
No, of course.
Jack Antonoff is like really putting a beat behind that. I'm like, she could literally do anything.
She could sit on Travis's face and he could be like kind of suffocating underneath her and it would be canon.
Yeah.
It would be Nick Cannon wilding out. I'm
so sorry to have just done that in the mic, but I'm just
these mics need to be thrown out, dude. I'm literally influenzaing all over them.
it's
and you just
hard.
Stomach fluid all over.
It's really hard to stomach the gaslighting that I feel is happening from the Swifties.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Like,
and again, like no hate or shade, but I'm just saying my truth is that if I watched her take home Best Album or quite frankly, anything. Award when you consider that lineup, I would have unsubscribed to music forever.
And she still did more than she should have. Like, even though I don't think she won anything, did she?
No, not a thing.
I'm still just like, why does she have to stand the entire time? It's like she has to make it known that she's there.
Yeah. She's literally she's chair one.
She's chair one.
She's first chair one. Yeah, and she's dancing with a bottle of champagne in her hand the whole time. I'm like, give it a rest. You are going to be memed, and it is apparent how much you are desperate to be memed. Mm-hmm. Now I'm just being mean.
No, but it is
because ultimately, like, what happened that I feared would happen did not.
Right.
But I'm like still angry about that possibility.
Yeah. The likelihood of it was the likelihood of this happening, and it's why it's your flip, was so slim.
Yes.
I don't know what they did to get their shit together to finally award Kendrick Lamar like something.
I mean, the fact that like a diss track won is like poetic justice, pardon my French, in such a way. Like everything from start to finish was just pure candy and justice being served.
Yeah.
Piping out the way it needs to be served.
And I did hear that they did a lot for like the fire department and stuff. So
yeah, they were like featuring commercials with small business owners and like Doja Cat.
I love when that happens.
Totally. Doja Cat like randomly popped up in an ad with like a small business owner who had lost everything and was like trying to be funny. And I was like, Doja,
okay,
girl.
Yeah.
I love your tunes, but easy
Give it a
dear.
rest, yeah.
Easy dear. No, it was, I mean, there was an ode to the firefighters. Anyway,
well, speaking of the girls, to pivot slightly to my flip. Okay, we're good. We're good.
We're fine.
Well, we're gonna go directly from flip or flop into our closing segment, which is message.
Well, this is exactly what we intended for the episode, by the way.
Yeah. I feel good about it. My flip, I was gonna do a flop, but then I was like, I can't.
No.
So I found a new creator that I'm very into, and it's for a specific reason. So there's a creator on TikTok. You can look her up. I don't know if it's her handle, but her thing is Dream Girl Diaries.
Okay.
She's this 25-year-old girl who is like kind of like your friend who's hot. Like, yeah. She's tiny, she's brunette, she's super beautiful, and she's 25. I don't know her name because she doesn't give her name. She doesn't give where she lives. She doesn't give any real information about herself. But she goes on live, and I've been randomly kind of gravitating towards TikTok lives recently because I'm lonely due to my abject loneliness. And sometimes when I'm like getting ready for bed or like putting makeup on, I like to just like pop on a live so I can like be a part of a community. We can unpack that later. But
do you engage? Like, are you
occasionally?
Okay.
Sometimes I comment.
Yeah.
But not. I don't really like. I mostly am just there for the vibes. But this girl, Dream Girl Diaries, popped up on my feed, and I was like, who's this? She basically is I don't even know what word to use to describe her. And I don't want to say gold digger, but sometimes language is limiting, as we know. But she basically like meets these, I don't know how she meets them, but like she meets these kind of older rich guys. And I guess they're kind of like sugar daddies, but she doesn't do anything like sexually with them, which I don't know if that's part of sugar daddy or not.
Okay.
But she just like has a roster of these like guys who she like clearly doesn't feel much towards, but who she's managed to get them to spend like literally thousands of dollars on her, like by making up stories, by saying that she needs to get her car fixed, by like just lying. Like she just lies to all these men, and she like uses her femininity and her sexuality to just like get what she wants, but she never has sex with them. And I'm like, you literally have an amazing life.
You have it made.
And I've been fascinated by her like existence. I've been wanting to learn from her. And also she sometimes when she goes on live, she will like call whoever like her flavor of the week person. She has like multiple people that she's been chatting with. But she'll like have a call with one of them like on the live so we can hear like, and sometimes they're like really annoyed at her because of her manipulation, and it is just like it is just so entertaining.
Yeah, because of her usurious nature and such. Yeah,
exactly.
Wait, that is it's interesting because I'm like, where do you find these men? Because it is a very specific kink.
Yeah.
To like want to be taken advantage of, like men having all of their money spent, like that is definitely like separate of sexual stuff, like something that scratches an itch for certain men.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, what corner of the population did you just manage to like pickaxe and strike gold in?
And I think also she like turns them into that. Like I don't know if they always are that way when she meets them, but something about like, I think just the fact that it's her age and the way she looks and the fact that she's like hyper feminine.
Yeah.
And she always like looks amazing and has amazing wardrobe and clearly like gives off the energy of like high class woman. But she said she met one of them at Home Depot. So she referred to them as Home Depot. Like she doesn't give them names. She just says like, this is 9, this is Home Depot, this is Mr. Gray, like, because he has gray hair. They're all like
this
way
is 89
older.
because he's 89.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it has just been fascinating, and honestly has been making me like raise my own standards. Like,
yeah,
I could never live the way that she does, but I am like, no, you're not gonna have my time unless you give me something.
I'm getting something out of it.
Yeah, and she was her whole thing is like, make sure that when you are engaging with men that you leave with more than you came.
So this was my question. Is she approaching it from like, what is her creator angle just that she so happens to have this like gaggle of dudes? Or is she kind of like, I'm gaming the system and girls, I want the same for you?
I think both.
Okay.
People in her lives often ask her like how she does this.
Yeah.
And so she does give advice. Again, I couldn't really do life the way that she does.
Yeah.
But it's also like, I'm so amazed that she doesn't even like kiss them. Like and she was like at one point on her live, she was like going through how she manages to like basically fend off advances from men. So she's like, if you're walking and he tries to do something, move your bag from this shoulder to this shoulder, then he can't really do anything. Like the maneuvering that she does,
oh my God,
is so granular and good. And I'm just like, I want to be you.
Well, it's also like, I feel like it's also kind of like a reminder of just like how much salt she probably has on her gills. Like,
what does that mean?
Just like how much bad experience she has to be able to like know and communicate these things. It's like, that girl has probably seen some shit, and she's 25 years old.
And like me at 31, I mean, I don't know, I think this is probably common for a lot of people. Like as a woman, when I go on a date and I get like my drinks or my dinner paid for, I do feel a sense of like, what do I owe? Yeah. And just seeing her be like, nothing, like that's the bare minimum, and actually buy me a Givenchy dress. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's just, we don't have to be giving so much these guys who literally give us nothing.
Well, you want to know what this kind of like all reminds me of, which is just like in life, women offer, like when women offer something in the form of cultural currency, like, I mean, it's like true in an office setting, but it's also just like true in life too, where it's just like personality and like bringing just like good energy is not seen as a contribution. It's just seen as like what the person on the other side is owed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, actually, no, I'm bringing currency to this transaction in the same way that you paying for this is.
Right.
Like
my value is intrinsic.
Me being here and hot and probably the best conversation that you've had in a week is quite honestly worth more than like the 2 fucking Miller Lights that you just bought us. Like
100%.
So I'm about this gal.
Yeah, I love
big
her.
Time.
I am slightly worried for her because there was this one guy who was very angry and angry that he wasn't getting any. And I was just like, what? Like, this is like a dangerous line, I feel, because men are so scary.
Yeah.
But she seems like she's got, her protection, and she doesn't give people her real name. Like, she doesn't give these guys her address.
So this is like a completely virtual
relationship
or she's okay. So she's like actually, in person. And probably, I'm sure she has, like, to your point, only sees them during a certain time of day, has to be like in a public setting.
She never lets them come to her place.
Yeah.
She said she had gone to one of their apartments, like, or their houses, like, one time.
Mm-hmm.
But like, they're always meeting in public. They're always going, I'm sure they're going to like the nicest restaurants. It's like, I just need to get to that place where like guys are taking me to nice restaurants because I want to go to nice restaurants.
And because you deserve to go to nice restaurants.
And because I deserve to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like seeing it in this light is very interesting because I do feel like I just have friends who go on these like completely fucking mid doesn't even do it justice. No. It's just like waste of space type of dates.
Literally waste.
And I'm like, I can't believe that they got to bask in your glow. Like, I cannot believe that this guy who is a fucking loser, crusty ass, weird sock wearing, baggy golf polo looking ass got to bask in your glory at a cute cocktail bar for 2 hours. I don't even get to do that with you.
Yeah.
So like the fact that it's just like time and time again and the only thing they're getting out of it is like, a drink and then a bad kiss at the end of the night. It's like, ask for more. Yeah.
No. And it's really reshaping the way that I'm approaching like anything. So like, I mean, I can talk about this off pod, but like if people aren't meeting my standards, I don't have to go to that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I love being at this point in life where I value my own time so much that I'm not just going to give it to some random because of the prospect of maybe them liking me. Like, which is how I would always go into dates before. It was like, it was never about me liking them. It was always, are they going to like me? Am I going to be good enough? Whatever. And now I'm like, you can prove yourself to me and I can decide if you're good enough.
I also like her approach too, because I feel like early days of me just like navigating whatever, wanting to be wanted, my whole thing was like, if this person actually wanted me, they would connect the dots and get me this. I don't have to tell them, or it doesn't have to be but like they would make some gesture first if they wanted me or really liked me like that. And I feel like what she's saying is like, I'll tell you exactly what I want.
Yes.
And if you can't get me that, then you can get the fuck lost.
She has not that I'm like a huge, I mean, I am a stan of hers, but she was at one point on one of these lives that I spend hours on. She was showing she has like this notes app on her phone of like all of her bills. And when a guy like asks her for like to go out or whatever, she'll show them like
the ledger.
This is
like, here's what
I cost.
Here's
basically
what needs to clear.
Yeah. And she's like, of course, make sure you pad it. Make sure it's not like actual numbers. It's like more than what they actually are. But it's like the fact that you can just show a guy your list of bills.
It's like you can have rent, you can have utilities, you can have hot water. Which one do you want? I am obsessed, dude.
I'm so obsessed.
Gen Z they have figured it out, man.
Yeah.
Gen Z and Gen X can, like, you guys take the reins. I'm just watching at this point.
Right. And
like,
I'm learning from you. Like you're 6 years younger than me, but like I have no ego about this.
Yeah.
Like I will gladly learn from you.
100%.
Yeah.
Wait, I was gonna say something else, but
it's okay.
I obviously forget. That's brilliant. I'm gonna be looking her up.
Yeah, it's called Dream Girl Diaries on TikTok.
Oh, so. I remember. It reminds me of the dynamic between Naomi and the brother in Intermezzo, where it was like, all just about like, you gonna pay my rent this month,
right?
Like,
which that was like
kind
of sad because she like loved him.
Yes,
and
it was different.
But I also think like that's what this girl talks about is like, this is why you don't have sex with them because of course once that happens then your feelings are involved and then it gets complicated, but so you just don't do that.
Yeah.
Which is genius. Yeah. I've never been able to crack that like feeling of what do I offer this person? Like they want this from me.
It's honestly like it's basically like an OnlyFans, but for like the pure raw beauty of her personality.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you can spend time with me, but like there are hundreds of other people who would probably want to do that too. So like what's it going to take for you to get in the room?
I was feeling that too. And I was like on a date recently, I was like, wow, I'm so beautiful. And like, I could kind of sense people around me, like looking at me or like kind of looking at the person I was with and like just observing that. And I'm like, wait, I could like go out with people more.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't, without the apps, I'm like, I just don't really know. I guess I got to go to Home Depot.
I guess you got to go home. Yeah. Got to go to Lowe's, got to go to Home Depot. It's the DIY boys who are willing to kind of like shell out the good stuff for the girls.
Plus I need someone who can like build me a shelf.
Or you need to go to like Just Salad and Fide.
Oof. I don't know if I can make it there.
Not that. You need someone who's like building a shed.
Yes. Like someone who maybe came into a lot of money in a totally moral and completely ethically sound way.
Of course.
And then also is like, has like really rugged skills and carpentry awareness of tools, etc.
Of course. Like the type of money where it's like, I can actually build this shed forever because I don't need an income.
Yeah.
I want that for you so badly.
Thank you.
I'm going to check out Dream Baby Sloth Girl, whatever her name is.
Dream Girl Diaries.
Dream Girl Diaries, of course.
Honestly, it is kind of like a modern day Carey Bradshaw. Like there's also a sense of like a little bit of voyeurism, you know, like just.
Is she showing off the nice things? Is she?
Oh my God. She has a closet full of designer stuff.
Amazing.
It's like, and her outfits are always so cute. She like,
I'm obsessed.
I love her.
Yeah, I feel there is like nothing wrong with that approach in my mind.
I completely agree. Yeah. And I hope that she finds, and her goal is like finding a husband. So, but she wants him to be really rich. So that's why she only hangs out with like rich guys.
Oh yeah. Well, she's vetting.
Yeah,
she's vetting right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And like cashing checks, getting her bag along the way.
Yeah.
We should all be getting our bag along the way.
To be making a profit on just
showing
being
up,
in touch with a man. It's
just
like,
showing up.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we are behind the curve.
I certainly am.
I feel like I'm driving a Ford Model T. I'm like, I'm old news.
My bank account is truly like in the hundreds. Like, I'm like, how do I meet these people?
Yeah, I got a Benji to my name.
I have the concept of sugar baby, sugar daddy has always been of interest to me. Mm-hmm. But one time I went on like one of these sugar daddy websites and it really freaked me out. So then I stopped.
Yeah. Yeah. I just feel like that world can get dicey.
And it's like so hard for me to act like I'm into someone if I'm not, which like that's sort of the whole thing with that.
Yeah. You need to find someone who gets like a rise out of you being like, well, you're ugly, fat, and I hate you.
Yeah.
So, and there are those types out there for sure.
But my problem is that once I start seeing someone, I can never be mean to them. Like, I love them so much. Like, they're everything to me. Mm-hmm. And so then whatever, like the bite that I had when we first started dating goes completely away because I'm just like a soft little bunny.
Of course.
So I'll figure it out someday.
Yeah. I feel like there are areas where you can test and learn right now. Like, I feel like you should just like lightly find a link that you like.
Okay.
And float it with, hey, Flounder. Float it with Hey Flounder.
Hi, Flounder.
Hi, Flounder.
One of the guys that I'm talking to texted me today saying, "Hi, Flounder."
And I want Parker to take notes. If you're not referring to me by my name, by my podcast name.
And then he was like telling me that he was listening to it while he was cooking. And
okay, which episode?
The most recent one.
Fascinating.
And I was like, I talked about you in the beginning because of my shoulders. And he was like, yeah, I do like your shoulders. I was like, yeah,
okay, he's a fan.
Okay, he's a huge fan.
Yeah, no, you should get a dress out of it, or at least a backup pair that you can wear outside. Those should be your indoor ones.
I'll ask
and then you should ask for outdoor ones. From Hey Flounder.
I'll look into it.
Okay. Well, we have essentially no time left.
Well, we have 9 minutes.
Oh, which is exactly when we
wanted to perfect transition. Timing. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to wrap this up for you guys. I feel like we've done a good job of kind of working our way back to a high note.
Yeah.
So we're going to end on the highest of notes, which is our closing segment, Message in a Bottle.
Love.
A segment in which we just take a moment to bottle up a little missive to something that is bringing us joy, that we're just feeling inspired to send a love note to.
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
Sure. My message in a bottle goes out to my ass.
Sound off, queen.
So when we were in Rhinebeck, we were staying at this big house, and
more like Rhinebeck.
More like Rhinebeck. Just repeats your joke.
I was so desperate to get that in. I'm happy I did. Thank you.
There were many rooms in this mansion, essentially, that we were in, and a lot of them had wonderful full-length mirrors that were like big, wide, tall full-length mirrors. Like I have one, but it's not.
No, this was quality. Like a wall. Yeah. You felt like you were walking into a room and one wall was a mirror.
Yeah, it was Hall of Versailles vibes.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Anyway, on the last day that we were there, I was happening to look in one and I just noticed my ass. And I thought, no one ever says anything about my ass, but it is amazing. And it simply will not quit. And I don't know if it's because like all my other assets just happen to be more at the forefront. I'm also constantly sitting on my ass. So it's like we can't always see it.
Of course.
And I do also want to add that part of the message in a bottle is around the fact that it's such a comfortable place to sit because there's so much there. And so like I really I can't empathize with people who have bony asses. Like I feel for them.
No, of course. Then thank you. I feel
because I'm sure it's like hard to sit.
It's not fun.
No.
And
also it just like looks amazing. I took a photo of it. I was like, wow, give my ass its flowers.
And I got the picture, folks.
And I sent Isabelle the photo of me looking at my own ass.
And if you buy Carey a Givenchy, maybe you can get this picture as well.
Yeah.
You got a lot going on. And I will say it's you're so right about just like the culture of sitting and like also like the culture of just like baggy sweatshirts. Like we don't get dressed up anymore, like especially in the winter, but just like in general, like my uniform is what you see here.
Yes.
And like my version of dressing up is the same pair of like wide-legged jeans and like a turtleneck. Mm-hmm. And
you look amazing in that.
Well, thank you, but I'm not showing off my assets. Not that I have any.
You have plenty of assets.
Sure. But just the occasion to show off the asset these days just feels so few and far between.
Yeah.
And so when you catch a mirror like that, it's like you should be out more.
And it's a priority of mine to dress. I mean, obviously not right now, but when I go out and meet people, like look away where it's like I care about this and I want to showcase all the different aspects of me.
Of course. No, your temple. I mean, there's this one woman who goes to one of the exercise classes that I frequent, and she's got a great ass. One of these days I'll let her know once I've kind of like tested the waters and evaluated if that's okay to say. But she has this pair of leggings that it's basically like if you imagine like a thong on the outside of the leggings, but it's the same material as the leggings.
Okay.
So it essentially just like looks like you're wearing, it just outlines your butt.
Yeah.
And it's like actually impossible to look away from.
I need to get those.
And I feel like you and like a little ass leisure look.
Little
ass leisure look, girl.
Okay. A little ass leisure.
You'd be stopping crowds. You'd be turning heads.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask her for the link and then
please
will remind her.
Well,
why.
there is like I've been getting a lot of ads on TikTok for like this one specific legging that's like a butt lifting legging, and I'm like, I don't even need that.
No, right.
That's what's so crazy about my ass.
It's like, I don't need the artifice. I don't need the boost. I just need a
regular pair of, I just need a stage and a mic, and I'm all good.
And I'll do the Taylor Swift boompy sound into it, but from the backside.
Yeah, so you're gonna get a real show. But yeah, so just kind of shouting that out, and thank you to my ass.
Oh my God. Well, I'm going to be on a complete mission now to find these leggings
Please.
For you. I'm seeing it in my mind's eye.
Ask the woman next time you see her.
You and your purple Stanley with your thong leggings, breaking necks.
Yeah. I mean, probably breaking objects.
And probably breaking certainly chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Okay. Do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll make it really quick. So my message in a bottle goes out to the United States Postal Service.
Let's go.
We talk a lot about how confounding plane travel is now more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is more confounding to me than the United States Postal Service. You go into a USPS office and it is always one fluorescent light, and all of the other lights are burnt out. It's one fluorescent light in a dream. It's one employee who hates their life to such a degree and everyone around them. All of the rules about what can go where and how many stamps are required and what is a flat versus a letter. Like, it is such a weird, intricate system.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you put it's a weird, intricate system, and everyone there is angry, and it's all run down. And yet you're telling me that I can put something into the hands of a USPS postal worker and it can end up in California the next day.
Yeah.
Bro.
It is actually crazy.
At the exact address that I
needed to go to. Yeah.
Like, it is mind-bending to me. It's in a big ass burlap sack of trillions of other pieces of mail, and it ends up at the exact address that I intended it to go to.
You're so right.
24 hours in the future. Like, how does that work?
I don't know. I'm actually, this is like illuminating to me. I never thought about it.
Well, same. And then, so I did have an experience where as we've discussed, I'm sending out my wedding invites.
Oh, I got mine.
Did you?
Yeah.
Thank God.
It was wonderful.
Well, this is related because I went through this first of all, they need a whole class on the USPS in school systems. Like, people just need to understand what postage is, what forever stamps are, what hand canceling means.
What is that? I don't even know that.
It's when you ask someone to stamp an envelope as opposed to running it through a machine if it has something delicate in it.
Oh.
There's a whole world.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I have to learn all of this leading up to sending out a couple hundred invites. And then I arrive to the postal office, and this woman is like literally behind a bulletproof piece of glass. She wants nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I'm asking her questions. Do I have the right postage on it? And she's saying, kindly get the fuck out of my office. I watch her take the box of invites and put it into, I'm not exaggerating, a black trash bag. Tie it with a knot and throw it over her shoulder like she's Saint Nick into a pile of packages behind her. And I was like, no one's getting those. No one's getting those. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to have to text my friends and let them know when and where.
Invited, yeah.
Yes. And that's fine. Like, I'm watching that reality happen right in front of me. No worries.
And it was all of the invites?
Every single one put into a Glad, hefty trash bag with terrifying. A Febreze smell.
Yeah.
Lassoed over her head and thrown behind her.
Into one of those enormous carts?
Into like one of those big white carts. And I said, that's the last I'll ever see of those. But lo and behold, the following day, I'm getting texts from people saying your invite came.
That's so crazy.
There is magic happening.
I don't know how they do it, because you're right. It shouldn't be working.
No. Well, if you think about, like, okay, roads are crumbling, bridges are falling apart, planes are dropping out of the sky, and yet this piece of mail
is making its way
is going to the pinpointed address that I put on it in less than 2 days.
It's making me really wish that, like, all of those people got paid so much more.
I know. Well, no, I'm like, no wonder they're so angry. There's one of them,
Yeah.
and they're responsible for like correspondence with an entire population.
And I'm sure that like sometimes there's like 2 people working, but it's clear that only one of them knows how to do anything.
Oh yeah.
So then they're just mad because like the person who's supposed to be helping them like
Isn't.
can't really do it.
The other one's like FaceTiming with their nephew.
Yeah.
It's
fully.
always someone FaceTiming with their nephew.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's mind bending.
It is mind bending.
But it's also making me like nostalgic for it working because I'm like, Doge is coming for that too.
Yeah, it's really sad.
So I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts. It's a magical way to communicate with people.
And didn't they recently say that? Well, because like I guess Trump said that they didn't want USPS to like receive packages from China.
Mm-hmm.
But they were kind of like, we're doing it.
What if you have like a pen pal?
Everything comes from China. What are you talking about?
Literally, where do you think we get all our microplastics?
Yeah,
all
I need my microplastics every day.
I need my microplastics.
There's not enough.
I don't know what I'll do without them.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that's my message in a bottle. Just
that's
like
a really good one.
It's a system that, against all the odds, continues to work.
No one knows how,
and no one knows how or why.
Wow, it's really magic. Actually,
like it is fueled by angry people and outdated systems, and it is working.
Mm-hmm.
We need to be treating them better.
I totally agree. Every time I see my girl, my USPS girl, and it's like raining, and she's fully just doing it still.
Oh, and their outfits are so damn cute.
Oh yeah, and
they have no business looking so cute. Like that.
I should give her like a holiday bonus or something.
Yeah,
I will this year.
Or you should just turn around. Make her look at it.
Turn around, look back at it. Yeah. Thanks for my mail.
Yeah, you can pay me for that, actually, ma'am. Well,
my God,
on that
we're
note,
overtime.
I don't even want to go, but we'll continue this conversation off pod.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us, as always.
We love you.
We love you
so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Waves to self.
Waves to self.